Hi folks, my name is Russ Amber and I've been coaching boxing since 1979. During that time I've worked thousands of rounds in both the amateur and the professional ranks. Over the years I've had the privilege of seeing some of the greatest fighters of the modern era at both the professional and Olympic levels. I've had one world champion and 4 Olympians, not to mention various medals at major international events including the World Championships. Since 1988 I've worked as an analyst for the CBC TV on all their boxing coverage, and since 1996 I've also worked on the sports network, TSN, as their exclusive boxing analyst. In June of 2000 I became president of Quebec Boxing and have been a board of directors member of the Canadian Amateur Boxing Association since. One of my most recognizable fighters that you might know is Otis Grant. Otis won the WBO middleweight title in 1997 and in November of 1998 fought the great Roy Jones. Although we didn't win the fight, seeing the quality and supreme talent of someone like Roy Jones up close gave me an increased appreciation of the fantastic talent that he is. Today we're going to take a look at the boxing basics. Although you'll often hear trainers and fighters talking about different styles and techniques, the one thing I've learned is that regardless of what era or what the fighter, there are certain techniques which are common in all the greats. It's easy to sit back and talk to you about the heavy bag, the speed bag, shadow boxing, skipping rope, the double end bag. But all these exercises are basically useless without a good, sound boxing base. In this video, we're going to show you the boxing basics that have stood the test of time and that are in the arsenal of all great fighters. Folks, as with anything, the most important and sound thing you could have is a foundation that is solid and strong. And that's the primary essence of boxing. And it's something that I've seen, regardless of the fighters you look at, going back in any era, from Sugar Ray Robinson to today's modern era, a stance and footwork is the most important thing you could have. I'd like to bring in a young guy that's going to demonstrate. David, come on in here. We just want to show you and start off with your basic boxing stance. Now, David, if you take your stance, please. One of the primary things we like to look at, that I like to have, and this is something that a lot of coaches might not see this right away, but I think I've broken it down in a way that makes it understandable to most people. I like to have the front foot placed in front of the head, which means if you were to take a string and drop it down from the fighter's head, his foot is going to be ahead of his head, and that's very, very important. I don't like a fighter either to have a soft front knee. I like it to be firm, but without being locked, because that's his shock absorption. That's where he's going to be able to push into the ground and be able to apply his weight when he wants to throw a good solid right hand or jab, which is the next thing we'll be working on, but get that base down good. The other thing we move. David, if I turn you around a little bit, just face me to this side here. One of the things I want to show you, and I'll use these sticks as an example, and this again becomes structural foundation which must exist. If you don't have this, it will not happen for you. All the exercise and stuff you'll do, you'll find yourself getting hit with shots. You'll find that you want is to have him keep that back heel up. Keeping that back heel up puts the weight a little bit on the front foot, on the ball of the foot, where he's going to be able to move. Your defense won't work as well if these things are not in place. And what I'd like to show you here is if we take a stick here, and Dave, you just bend a little forward. If we take a stick and line him up this way, actually, David, you know what? Turn around the other way. Face me here. Okay. If I take this stick here and line him up, you'll notice that the heel comes in perfect line all the way right up until his head, offering a nice line of his body all the way forward. This one acts as the support and crosses right there. This actual stance is a firm foundation right here. This is what you see, and this is where it crosses, and this is the line that the body takes. From that position, David is going to be able to either slide forward to me or slide back. He'll be able to move his body any way he wants without much of a problem, being able to avoid any punches. Also, the key is he's going to be able to execute his punches without putting himself in any danger. He'll be able to optimize his range by using that front foot as his measuring stick. This is very, very important. This base here, and you take a look at any of the great fighters in the past, and you will notice, and regardless of the style they used to get into that position, when they throw it, that is the position they're in. And I think the one example you can use on that is if you looked at a young Muhammad Ali, even in his prime, even when moving, if you freeze frame his shot when he throws the jab, you'll notice that the front foot is in front of him, and when that jab comes out, it lands perfectly before bringing it back. That is the basic boxing stance, and that's the one I like to set my fighters up with. Once you got that, you can build anything from there. Okay, well, you saw the stance, and that's the most important thing. Now, from the stance, you've got to be able to move. And that, of course, is another vital point of boxing. Dave, if you can get back into the stance again, please. Now, right there again, remember the front foot's in front of you, the back foot, the heel is is up high, providing for good position to move from. From there, this is basic, simple stuff that you've probably seen elsewhere. You want to move to the left? You want to move forward? What foot do you move first, Dave? The forward. You want to move back? What foot do you move first? The back foot. You want to move to the left? What foot do you move first? The left one. You want to move to the right? What foot do you... Good. Now from there, the trick to doing all that is to put it all together. What I try to tell my fighters to do is to put it together in rhythmic fashion. We tell them to rhythm. And here's the key to rhythming. Let's say it's going backwards and I'm the opponent and I'm pressuring David and I'm pushing David back and I want David to go backwards. He rhythm. Now he comes forward and I want him to rhythm pressure on me. He goes to the right. I want him to rhythm pressure. He goes to there. Now, if you notice, the one thing that he does in that is regardless of in which direction he goes, the second foot he moves kind of drags. You move this way, the front foot drags. You move forward, the back foot drags. You move to the left, to the right, the left foot drags. You move to the right foot drags. That's a key thing. That keeps you in as close a contact with the ground as possible. And what you're also doing at that point is you're not doing this stepping stuff. When you do the stepping stuff, what happens is you're actually transferring your weight back and forth. Because how could you be keeping your weight on the front foot if you're actually having to lift it to walk? Do that. That's not good. Staying off your front heel. Can't do that. You got to stay on the ball of your foot. So always try to keep it rhythmic. Always try to keep it moving. Dave, move with me a little bit here. Good. David will apply pressure to me. I'll apply pressure to him. We'll move back. He's always maintaining his optimal range with me. He'll slide off. He'll move back. This way he'll be able to bounce away if he has to. If the opponent attacks quickly, he'll be able to just bounce away. He'll be able to come right out of the bounce, right back into his rhythm. Dave, if you come in, you bounce away, and then right back into your rhythm. That's it. And into your rhythm, good, and bounce. That's right. That'll keep him away. Being able to execute that is going to work perfectly when we try to build the foundation for offense and defense. And right off of that, we can start working the left jab. So from there, if David's in his boxing position, what we want to do to throw the left jab, providing that the base is perfect as we spoke of. The front foot is in front where it's supposed to be, ahead of his head. The back heel is up. From there, a slight rotation of the arm and flipping the shoulder over will land a left jab. Now you'll hear a lot of coaches turning around and throwing a jab and say, throw it from your elbow, throw it from your elbow, snap it from your elbow. If you want to guarantee to hyperextend your elbow, that's what you'll do. You will certainly hurt yourself doing that. The elbow is certainly not involved in throwing the punch other than to rotate it. That's about it. The punch comes from the shoulder. And the only way it can come out good is if you have the good base. Now David's got the good base right here. If he throws out the jab, it lands perfectly. Throw it out again, lands perfectly. It comes from the shoulder, right from there, and it comes out. Now just to show you that he's not using the elbow, if I was to stick his hand further out in front of him, watch that it's only the shoulder which snaps and turns. There's no movement in the elbow. And the reason he's able to do that, and even if I was to move my hand, he doesn't lose his balance because he's got the foot in front of his head. Therefore, he's not falling over. Again, do it again, bang, out it comes. Now, I get David to move because we got that footwork happening, bang, and he snaps it out. He rhythms again, bang, he snaps it out. Again, everything is coming from the shoulder. There it is. Now he'll rhythm away, and he can still pop. He'll rhythm away, and he'll still pop. Now watch something here. Look how far he is from me, and he's still able to land the jab. Why? Because he has the left foot in front of him. This is the key right here. He would not be able to do this if that foot was under him. He'd have to step in. And in order, if he stepped in with the punch, step in when you throw the jab, that's what happens. He steps in again, that's what happens. But if he keeps his stance good, keeps the weight on the front of his foot, and fires it out, look where he's able to hit me from without ever getting the left jab back. So that is a very, very important thing. Remember, with the jab, throw it from the shoulder. Don't throw it from the elbow. Throw it from the shoulder. Pop it out there. Keep your chin down. Keep your chin hidden behind the shoulder when you do throw it. The elbow plays very little part in the punch, except maybe for adjusting distance. If the guy's closer, you might hit him here. But basically, aside for adjusting for distance, It has no play, no impact. There should be no power. If you're hurting your elbow when you're throwing the jab, you're throwing it wrong. So throw it out there, bring it back, fire it back out, bang. There it is, nice and straight down the middle. You're looking down the sights when you're throwing it. Just look down the sight when you're throwing it. The chin is nice and protected so that when it does come up, should someone slip in and try to throw the right hand over the top, it's protected behind the shoulder. Very, very important to remember when you're setting up the left jab. To the body is pretty much the same thing as well. He can throw, no, the jab. He can throw the jab to the body and then right back up to the head, to the body and to the head. And that's very sound, keen left jab that finds the target time and time again. And that's going to set up everything else you've got coming after that in any of the combinations you throw. Most of the time, the punch that you're going to throw right after that is going to be the right hand in the famous old 1-2. And there's the right hand. Now, hold it, throw it again, David, and hold it here. Again, the elbow plays little or no role in the punch other than to provide the distance. The punch comes from the shoulder. Bring it back. Here's the jab out. Let the jab come out. Now watch David as he does it slowly and he starts to turn. Watch how he hesitates before throwing. No, do it again. Put the jab here. Put the jab here. There you go. Now watch him as he starts to turn the body first before the right hand comes out. Then the right hand will come out. Bring it back and again. Turn the body first. There. And again. There. And again. Boom. That's why he's getting the hip into the punch. That's why he's getting the shoulder into the punch. That's what gives the punch the power. Too many people think that they just got to throw the shot straight out. That's wrong. That's not what you want to do. You want to get that body turning. Again, I'll show you how that's true by having him place his hands out here and just turning his body. Bang. The power comes not from the elbow. The power comes from the rotation of the body. Watch any of the greats. Watch Joe Louis knock somebody out. Watch Roy Jones knock somebody out. It all comes from just rotating the shot over. That's the key. And right there is how you do it. Now, if your hand is already here, that's fine. The elbow will adjust for the distance, but it's the body that turns first before it lands. Do it again, David. Boom. There it is. Boom. There it is. Boom. Right there. Now to the body, same thing. Boom. Bend the front knee a little bit when you come down. There it is. And again. Boom. Boom. And back to the head. Boom. That's the way you throw the right hand to the body. Following up on the right hand to the body, or the right hand to the head, is the famous number 3 of the famous 1-2-3. And that's the left hook. Left hook is a little more intricate and a little more difficult to throw. But again, people often make the mistake of just not getting the basics down properly on it. We got the base set up. We know the base is good. We've got the jab set up. We know that's good. David turns to throw the right hand. We know we've got that good. Now as David comes around with the left hook, he will turn. That's the key right there. He's flipped his shoulder over. Chin should be tucked in a little bit more. What he's done is he's let the body come ahead of the punch. What I like to tell the fighters is to never pass the line of center. David, take your position and take the stance facing this way, please. What I'd like to show you here is if he throws a 1-2-3, 1-2-3, right? Hold the 3 here. Boom. Now, right here, David does not pass the center line, which is the key, yet his body is way ahead of the punch. Again, that's where you get the power. The punch must come from behind the body. That is the key. We'll show you again in an exaggerated fashion. If David's hand was already out here, turn your body, and again, bring it back. Just turn the body. Boom.